you are in big trouble. No, I'm not saying, no, sorry, wrong. Why is it supposed to be the cemetery? Salute, comrades. Old boy is here. So, couple days ago, I did a reaction to Family Guy's Meg Griffin's song about her life in Russia. And someone in the comment section suggested that I react to the full episode. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. But for some reason, I couldn't find the full episode anywhere. But what I could find were just some short clips from that episode. Then what I did, I took all of those short clips and compiled them into one video. But I haven't watched that episode. That's why I don't know the real chronology. And maybe I messed up the storyline a little bit. If it's true, please forgive me for that. But still, I suggest that we check out the video. I will share my thoughts and opinion, maybe tell you something interesting. Okay, let's jump into the video.
Have we ever been alone in a room together before?
So, Instagram
Have they?
update.
We're talking!
The hacker contacted me. He's demanding $10,000.
I hear you're looking to kill somebody.
What? No, I'm just trying to find a guy who hacked my Instagram account.
I remember in old times, like 10, 15 years ago, it was a real problem. We had an epidemic of viruses. You start your computer, you start the operating system, you get a pop-up window, you have to pay how much money to which account, or someone will just maybe for fun, block all of your files and you can't access them or hide them somewhere. I don't know why people were doing that. It was mostly not about money, but we created a huge wave of professional hackers in Russia. So that's true. It was like that, but I'm not sure if it's still like that because recently digital security is not a problem anymore. I don't even remember when was the last time I had any problem with my computers.
I can also help with that. I'm really good at finding cyberbullies. One time, I got an anonymous tweet telling me to go kill myself, and I tracked the IP address to Chrissy Teigen.
Yeah, it's kind of her thing.
I don't know how you're gonna find...
That's in Russia. Вы можете забрать девочку из Новосибирск. Ну, вы не можете забрать Новосибирск от девочки.
How do you...
That's actually a very famous phrase, but it's not about the Novosibirsk, not about the city, it's about the village in general. It says, you can take a girl from the village, but you can't take the village out of the girl. Something like that, if it makes any sense. But what surprised me is that the voice actress Mila Kunis, as far as I remember, she's Ukrainian, so her native language was Russian. But to tell you the truth, guys, maybe she spent quite a substantial amount of time in the United States because she kind of lost the native pronunciation. She has a very strong accent. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not criticizing, I just noticed that for me as a native speaker, it's a little bit difficult. I have to, concentrate to actually hear what she's saying. But probably my English is just like her Russian. Probably her accent, her Russian accent, her English accent in Russian is just like my Russian accent in my English. I think so. So I'm not criticizing, just wanted to share.
know how to speak Russian.
If you watch enough super dark videos on the internet, eventually you're gonna learn Russian. At first, just the Russian words for please don't kill me. But it's amazing how those are really the building blocks of an entire language.
Guys, is it true? Yes, I don't think so. Which place gives the most dark videos? I think recently I see a lot of crap from Latin American countries, from India, from Asia. But recently I haven't seen anything dark from Russia. How do you think, guys? Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just curious.
German's very similar.
And then I was able to make some friends in a Russian AOL chat room.
You got a whole little life going on, huh? Can you figure out what city this hacker lives in?
Okay, I'm thinking the big boys in Moscow are fishing in Europe. Russia has 11 time zones, so if we triangulate the activity through peak hours... Yep, just what I thought. Chelyabinsk.
That was fast.
You gotta move fast in this world, bro. So, are we gonna go find this guy or what?
All right, looks like we're going to Russia. Russia? We can't go there. They're at war with Ukraine. They are? Whoa, crazy.
I say we do it.
We're really going to go to a country at war, and we couldn't go to my business meeting on Fire Island? What business meeting? I sell bikini.
Guys, actually, though they mentioned that Russia is at war, but, transportation still works and tourism still works because it didn't really touch the Russian territory and it didn't influence the social part, let's say. Let's call it like that. So, of course, they want to pinch us with that. But if you're a foreigner and you want to travel to Russia, it's absolutely safe. Just wanted to tell you that.
Bikini swimsuits for men of size.
You mean fat guys?
No. No.
Are you here for business or displeasure?
We're here to find the hacker that...
Stole your Instagram, yeah.
I just noticed his haircut. This stupid, how do you call this thing in the front? I wanted to say that kind of haircut was for some reason popular during late 90s, early 2000s, I think. But popular, I mean, for some reason many people did it. But another part of people who didn't do thought that it was ridiculous, that it was incredibly stupid and just they looked silly. I don't know why they chose this kind of haircut. Maybe it's very unusual and maybe, though it's not that popular now, but it's very representative. I think so.
Yes. Enjoy 10 square kilometer of country that don't make Geiger counter go beep, beep, beep. Hey!
Oh my god.
It's that way.
Guys, is the radiation joke is still a thing? I mean, in regards to Russia, because though we did have a catastrophe in Chernobyl, right? But we are not the country these days. I mean, we're not the country that produces the most nuclear power in the world. At least as far as I know, there are countries that have much bigger problems than we do with radiation. Yeah, and I'm not trying to, defend my country or anything, just saying that I thought that kind of joke would be a little bit outdated. But just, again, my opinion. If it's still a thing, then it's still a thing. Again, this haircut. Chelyabinsk.
Hey, you guys, this is exciting. I'm reading about Chelyabinsk, and if it's not too much trouble, I'd love to swing by Kuznetsov's tea.
I just noticed the buildings. Remember last time when we watched the compilation, not the compilation, Mac's song about Russia, I said that many of the buildings are authentic. But at the same time, I didn't know that it was about Chelyabinsk, because if it's about Chelyabinsk, Chelyabinsk is, I wouldn't say like it's high-tech, hyper-modern city, but it's quite developed and it's very unusual to see such kind of landscape there. So they are a little bit over-exaggerating. At least there must be some kind of road. And the buildings, they wouldn't be... They look like, like cabins. We don't really build cabins inside the city. Yeah. So not authentic, not true.
Packing factory. It was built in 1898 and briefly popularized the phrase, have a cup of coos.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, you're no fun.
Coos.
Meg, cup of...
What is coos? I never heard that. I think they just came up with it. But maybe it's the local Chelyabinsk thing. Because I'm not from Chelyabinsk. I live very, very, very far away. So maybe it's their local thing, but it even sounds weird.
Coos? Come on, we gotta find this guy. Now think like a hacker. Where would he be?
Why don't we just follow this giant Ethernet cable?
Yeah, of course.
Did you know Chelyabinsk is known as the Chicago of the Urals? I'm like...
That is partially true. Of course, we don't call it the Chicago of Ural Mountains. We don't say that. But it is a little bit famous for its criminogenic situation. You know what I'm talking about. But again, it doesn't look that crappy. It doesn't look that horrible in real life. And we don't keep server racks outside of the buildings. And I don't think that people over there, they live in old, these junky cabins. I don't even know. It's not really authentic, but for a comedic purpose, they did it.
Pinching myself, I'm that jazzed.
And again, this haircut.
Tonada.
Let me handle this. At the Brian Griffin. Tu Kraljevo Instagram?
Da.
And now this time, her pronunciation is much, much better. What I think is that the shorter the phrase, the better she can pronounce it. Just my opinion. But this time it sounded almost perfect. But the only thing is that when she switched to Instagram, to Kraljevo Instagram, that's a little bit weird. Because normally Russian people, if we speak with the accent, we pronounce all the words with the accent. In Russian, Instagram is Instagram. Yeah, so it's supposed to be Tu Kraljevo Instagram, not Tu Kraljevo Instagram. Instagram. Yeah, that's a little bit, but the pronunciation is good.
Sorry, I also conveniently speak a little English. Come in, I explain over cup of coos.
Oh, jackpot!
What is
and you know they're
coos?
gonna have good coos.
Dissidents Poison Hospital. Oh my god. Why it looks so horrible? Why the hospital looks so horrible? We have bad places, bad hospitals in Russia, but not that bad because it won't meet the requirements for hygiene, All hospitals, they're very strict in terms of how clean it's supposed to be, how much dirt, mold, fungus, whatever their, standards are. It can't be that crappy. But what I see is kind of authentic is the bed. Do you know those kind of beds that don't even have a mattress? So instead of a mattress, they would just use a metal frame and then some kind of like a bouncy net, like a metal net, like a mesh. And it's just, who invented it? I have no idea. It's a sadistic person because it just feels horrible. No matter how many mattresses you put on it, you can still feel the metal with all parts of your body. Because we don't have thick mattresses like that. We have those army-style rolling mattresses. And they don't protect from anything. But all the other parts of the bed, they look very real, very authentic.
Ivan, what happened?
Everyone here was silenced by state for careless social media post.
You mean that thing I said about beats for luck?
Shh, quiet. Government is very strict about criticism of Russian way of life.
It's true. You see, President Putin can be very sensitive.
Meg, I am so...
Guys, let me clarify something. So, in Russia, if you criticize the authorities, even the president, nothing's gonna happen to you unless you are a high-rank politician, right? Then it will be just a political kind of thing. If you're a regular person, nothing's gonna happen to you. But what did happen is some people got in trouble for criticizing the army. So if you say that army sucks, supplies, they are stolen and corruption and blah, 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 then it's even possible that someone's gonna knock on your door. That's true, but not for saying something bad for the authorities. So partially true, I would say.
happy you okay. I stayed by your side all night.
Oh, thank you for being so good to me. God, this hospital bill is going to be a fortune.
What? Is free. Even in Russia, healthcare is basic human right covered by government. Surely is same in very wealthy, superior United States.
Well...
Guys, actually it's true. And I'm kind of a little bit proud for that. That healthcare in Russia is free. Many people would say, and I thought so when I was younger, that though it's formally free, you still have to pay in many cases when you come to the hospital. But when I grew up, when I grew older, I figured out that it's actually not the case. I can tell you that paying for medical care in Russia won't increase the quality of service. It doesn't make sense, but if you pay, they will. If you don't pay, and if you pay, they will care similarly. Oh, I mean, they won't care about you similarly. That's why it just doesn't make sense to pay. I can tell you that the only case when it does make sense is, for example, when you get a prescription and the doctor gives you a range of medicines that can help your case, right? So first he would name the cheapest one, the most affordable one. It's the one that the hospital can provide you. Then they would name maybe some kind of generic or a more expensive, more functional thing. That's what you can buy with your own money. And if you're really rich, then they would just write down the best one, like the best for this specific disease that you can get. And if you have money and connections, you can pay, you can get it. So that's how money actually work in Russian healthcare. But even if you are completely poor, if you don't have anything in your pocket, which happened to me once because I just physically didn't have an opportunity to take cash with me. I went to the hospital. I was thinking on the way that I had to get a surgery. And I was thinking, anyways, I will ask someone to send me the money or to bring me the money because we still use cash and we don't have this wireless transfer thing developed well enough. So someone had to bring in cash. And I thought that I will pay off later. But the quality of the surgery was probably the best I ever had. I mean, it was free, but it was least problematic of all the surgeries I had, even those which I paid for. That's why I realized that it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't make sense to pay for medical care in Russia. I know I'm a little bit excited right now and maybe just overreacting a little bit, but I really wanted to tell you that it still has some drawbacks. It has some shortcomings. For instance, we have very long queues. So if something happens to you, sometimes you have to wait. You have to wait for like a couple hours. But a friend of mine who lives in Canada, he said that whenever there is something free, you won't get it just instantly, just like that. You will have to wait for it. So he said in Canada, it was pretty much same as in Russia. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to tell. I'm sorry for a long talk. I just wanted to share my opinion and, I have a lot of information to tell you. If you don't like it, I'm really sorry for that.
Oh, it was so sweet of you
Which
to plan
language
this
is
picnic,
that?
Ivan. But why are we in a cemetery?
Meg,
It doesn't
I
really
brings you
look
here
like
because
Russian.
cemetery is very special place. It is here where you can finally meet my parents.
Ivan Ivanovich.
Your parents are dead? Oh, Ivan,
By the way, guys, why is it supposed to be the cemetery? Come on. Russia has... A man would never take a girl to a cemetery for a date. Even if you're quite an asocial, reckless person, you wouldn't do that. We have a lot of space. Like, come on, Russia is the biggest territory in the world, right? We have huge parks. Like, I mean, huge parks. Just like forest, like a piece of forest. We have beautiful squares, and squares will be the size of a whole living block, You could go there. You could go anywhere. Why the cemetery? Why they are exaggerating that much? Come on, guys.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. They died peacefully being ripped apart by dogs. Meg, when you were in hospital, I was so afraid to lose you. And in that moment, I realized I never want us to be apart. Meg, will you marry me? I do not have much to give, but I do have mother's engagement ring.
Guys, that's too dark. And why the writings on the tombstones, they look like Hebrew? right? They look like Hebrew, and it's a little bit too dark. I don't know. Is that how you Americans feel about us Russians now?
What do you say, Meg? Will you make me happiest man in all of Russia, which is admittedly a very low bar?
Oh, Ivan, yes, yes, yes.
Then come with me and let's take brown clothes not smiling engagement photo.
It's true. We are not really allowed. No, I'm not saying no. Sorry, wrong. No one is forbidding us to smile at photos, I mean, official documents. It's just not a very common thing. Just our tradition to, like, like that without smile. But it's not that someone tells us not to. And we're very happy people. Why he said being the happiest man is a very low bar. Come on.
I cannot wait to etch this picture of you into hideous black gravestone.
Which background you want? Frozen tundra or leaky reactor?
A
Reactor, please.
Don't know why I offer tundra. Nobody choose.
We begin with a reading from the Russian Orthodox Bible. And Jesus said to Mikhail, "The radio you sold me last week does not work." Mikhail said to him,
No offense to anyone, but it sounds more like he just, the way how he talks and the kind of conversation reminds me of Jewish people, how maybe a Jewish priest will talk about selling something, about just, I'm not trying to offend anyone.
"How do I know you didn't break it on purpose to get your money back?" Then they got in a fist fight on the bus. Amen.
Amen.
I now pronounce Ukraine actually part of Russia. And I also pronounce you husband and wife. You may share a joyless kiss.
I don't want to comment anything on that because it's quite a sensitive topic, guys. But I want to say that this priest is not serious. In real life, Russian Orthodox priests they're very serious. They look very respectable, They have huge gray beards and they have this is not a typical clothes. It must be a black or white, no, black, I think, mostly black clothes. And they look like men in power, but not really. I think you know what I'm talking about. This one is just like a parody. Asbestos. Just a short notice. In Russia, asbestos is banned. Just like in most civilized countries, we don't use it anymore because it provokes cancer. And we know about that, okay?
Well, I managed to upgrade us to President for Life suite. Window is so big you could shove 6, 7 journalists out all at once.
Of course.
Are you okay, Meg? You barely touched your kvass. What's the matter? Not enough, right?
What did he say? It's either your kvass or your kvass. If it's kvass, then it's actually a very good drink. I'm not joking. Though it may sound weird or even disgusting to some people because it's a drink that is made from fermented bread, rye bread, but it actually tastes very good. It's like root beer or ginger beer. Or you can say it's like our kind of Coca-Cola. But not every type. Most of the kinds that you buy from a convenience store, they're over-sweetened. And actually, they're just like lemonade. But the real one, like the bitter one, that actually tastes like beer, it's a good one. I really recommend that. If you have a chance to try Russian kvass, and it's not kvass, it's kvass, try it, because it tastes really, really good.
Reasons? Perhaps you miss your family, no?
Yeah. I mean, I love it here, but I'm sad they missed my wedding.
Hey, I have idea. Why don't we visit family in America? They can celebrate our wedding and say a proper farewell.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm gonna call them right now. Ugh, no service.
Here, use mine. Only service that works here is state-controlled Russian cellular network where they spy on every move. I think in USA you call it T-Mobile.
You know, guys, I have two things to say. First one is that some people believe that in all social networks and in all conversations that you have over the phone, there is someone, we call him Mr. Major. And he's listening to whatever you say or whatever you type in your social networks. Sometimes when people say something silly or questionable, right? They would first type, Mr. Major, I didn't mean it, like, I'm not for real, but I just want to say, blah, 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 and they will go with the actual text of their message. Please don't put me to jail, you know, something like that. But it's more like a joke. It's like a city legend. But as for the quality of the network, it's a little bit true because our territory is really huge and we can't physically put the, how do you call them? Like the mobile towers, right? The reprojectors, or how do you call them? We can't put them everywhere. So in certain areas, especially in the countryside, the quality of connection is not that good. And even sometimes in certain areas in the city, the speed of the internet really, really, really sucks. I don't know why they can't fix it, but some places don't even have 5G. Like many places sometimes even get 3G in Russia in 2024. Yeah.
Ah, so you got green card marriage, huh?
That's
Oh.
right. American cow fell for it. Here's to my last night in Russia.
Oh my god. This whole thing was just another scam? I'll give you something to laugh about.
Guys, I will be reading, okay? So Putin's body only okay. Government building signage a bit confusing. Guys, I'm sorry to admit, I don't know what is signage. Is that how the building is decorated or what is that? Yeah, but again, I just want to say, no one will take you to jail for criticizing the president or the authorities, whatever. Only if you criticize the army, which is true, but not the president. I don't care for fur hats. Actually, I don't care for fur hats too. I think no one cares for fur hats anymore. They used to be a thing with our parents and grandparents, especially parents' generation. Like 30, 40 years ago, they were a thing.
What the? Oh no!
Guys, these cars, the way how they drew them is very, very authentic. I've seen them hundreds of times. They remind me of my teenage years so much. But I want to say that this is a special force kind of vehicle. If it's just regular police, I mean, what we normally see and where we are put when you're a teenager in Russia, you will certainly get in some kind of trouble, and they would put you to this. It's like some kind of a small SUV. This kind, if you see that car in Russia and it's coming for you, you are in big trouble, and it doesn't even make sense to run. Doesn't even make sense to run because it's the special force vehicle. Very authentic. But I never saw anyone using the tranquilizers because I believe that those are tranquilizers. Now, in Russia, it's very untypical. They will just grab you, they will just handle you and put you down and then put the handcuffs on you, just like a regular police. That's a little bit not realistic. They would just send in one or two of those cars and 4 to 8 guys, they will just knock you down and just put you in handcuffs. That's how it normally goes. Beet soup should be hot. I agree to that. If she's talking about the famous Russian soup, borscht, then it must be hot. I know some people eat it cold, even some people put it in the freezer, so it kind of, catches the ice a little bit. I cannot understand that. It doesn't taste delicious at all. If it's borscht, it must be hot, hot, hot. Red tracksuits are overrated. That's also true because, for one reason, because they never were a thing in Russia. Actually, that blue one she's wearing right now is much more authentic. Even I used to have, it was not the whole tracksuit, it was like a hoodie with Adidas on the back. But it was dark blue, almost blackish. So her kind of costume, tracksuit, is more typical. Red ones, only certain people wear them, and I don't remember seeing anyone in that red kind of tracksuit. Anna Kurnikova seemed difficult. I'm not very familiar. I know who that is, but I'm not very familiar. I'm sorry for that. I can't really comment anything. Okay, so she's done with him. That man is in trouble. Alright, guys. Seems like that's it. I'm sorry if I messed up the compilation, if I did something wrong. And I'm sorry for talking so much. I just had so many things I wanted to share with you. If you enjoyed it, you may consider subscribing to the channel because there are more videos coming. Or at least leave a comment in the comment section. Also, if there is any video you would like me to react to, you may leave a suggestions in the comments as well. Have a good evening, morning, night, afternoon, whatever time of the day it is. And as always, salute, comrades.